catch, and we'll call the meeting to order at 7:07, and we'll start with a roll call. Prabhu, if you want to go first.
Here.
Chris, do you want to start us for the night?
Chris, aye. Here.
Aaron here.
Carrie here.
Rachel here?
Roger here.
Perfect. All right, and so we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I move that we approve the draft minutes of our regular meeting of August 27th, 2025.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Carrie? All right, any discussion?
Yes, Rachel, you were in attendance during that meeting.
It was.
And then the other thing is, on the draft minutes, is there any significance of the lettering that's in red? And just from a formatting, if there isn't, then I guess we would just agree to have you put them back in black. I printed them.
I think they were added later, so we had a more revised version. So on the final agenda, there were some that were red.
Oh, okay, so you would turn them back to black in the minutes.
I don't know, I kept it it matches what was in the agenda. So whatever was in the agenda that was red, I
Right.
kept red in the minutes.
Right, but the minutes don't need to reflect, the minutes reflect the meeting regardless of which agenda version it is.
I'll turn it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just so no one has any questions that it's sort of an outlier, issue. But yeah, I like how in the agendas now we put special notice to that, which was added. And then there was one other issue on agenda items 8B and 8C. The strategic plan lists Doug, and then library parking lot lists me. I think, did we simply defer both of those? Because there's no content?
We did.
Okay, so if you could then just put deferred or tabled, maybe just table
Okay,
under 8B strategic plan and 8C library parking lot.
okay.
And those are the only recommended changes I have.
Any other updates or discussion? All right. Then we'll take a vote. Prabhu, you get to go first.
Prabhu, aye.
Chris, aye.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, I.
Rachel, I.
Roger, aye.
And it passes. All right, so that brings us on to the approval of bills.
Okay, I move that, I make a procedural motion that we approve articles, warrants 10, 11, 11-1, and number 12 as a single vote.
Seconded.
Second.
All right.
Okay,
Any discussion on them? Oh, I guess now, do we have a motion?
We have to
well, we
the
vote on the
motion.
procedural.
Yeah.
You're right. Any discussion?
Oh, sorry. Prabhu, you go first.
I have no point to discuss.
Oh, I guess, sorry, we have to vote on the procedural motion, so
Okay, Prabhu, aye.
Chris, aye.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, I.
Rachel, I.
Roger, aye.
All right, and it passes.
Okay, I move that we approve the following warrants in the following amounts as from the sources contained in the meeting packet. Warrant number 10 in the amount of $7,898.33. Warrant number 11 in the amount of $21,336.10. Warrant number 11-1 in the amount of $22,251.00, and warrant number 12 in the amount of $3,775.53.
Is this second?
Second.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Any discussion? All right, and then we'll call for a vote. Prabhu?
Prabhu, aye.
Chris, aye.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, I.
Rachel, I.
Roger, aye.
All right, and it passes unanimously. So we'll move on to ongoing business. Carrie, friends?
Yeah, So we met with the friends, as we usually do, and we were very happy to have Jean join us, and she met the board members, so that was terrific. So thank you for doing that. So the biggest news to report is that Diane Libby, who was previously a member of the Board of Trustees, actually joined the Board of the Friends. She was elected to
Oh,
to join the
fantastic.
Yes. So we're thrilled to have Diane's assistance. She's got a wealth of information and enthusiasm. So we're very happy about that.
That's
So,
great news.
She was
Yeah.
a career librarian at Westboro High School. She was my wife's librarian.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Isn't that
Wow.
awesome?
Yeah. She is, yeah, that's awesome, and she's awesome, so
Yeah.
we're thrilled. So again, there was, most of the meeting was, other than, meeting Jean, which again was great, was a recap of the used book sale, and, and it did very well. And then they're gearing up for the Grafton celebrates the holiday, so there was some discussion about that, but, the Friends always do participate in that event as well.
Oh,
So,
that's wonderful.
yeah. So,
And I'll add that I used my 50% off pass for the American Heritage Foundation in Hudson through the library.
Awesome.
Kudos to the Friends for, funding those passes.
Yeah, that's great.
Any other discussion or? Thank you for the update, Carrie. Yeah. We'll move over to Aaron for the policy committee update.
Great. So we have a number of policies that came back from legal. They actually had a lot of input on quite a few of them. So we've decided to take them back to policy committee the next time we're able to meet and discuss some of the changes. We felt that they were too voluminous to just keep it going along the chain. But the one that we felt was ready and appropriate was the pandemic policy, which you have in your packet tonight. And if you had the opportunity to read it, fantastic. But the policy committee felt that, to completely get rid of such a policy is kind of foolish, understanding that, we came out of a pandemic, there could be another one. So we spent a lot of time in writing it, and it's still relevant. So that's why we're bringing that to the board today. So if no other commentary, I'll hear a motion to approve the pandemic policy.
I make a motion to approve the updated pandemic policy.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I had one question. All right, so so pink and blue.
Yep.
If you could just go over those.
Yeah, so the pink came from legal. They just had some commentary. Not that there was anything wrong with the policy, but just kind of food for thought. One thing they said is return to work protocol still relevant or in effect post public health emergency. If we do have a similar event, sure, something like that would need to go into effect. So I get it. It doesn't fit the current state of emergency or the state of things at the moment. But in the event that we do have such an event, I hope not, then that's why it was written that way and will remain that way.
So on blue, so as we remove the color coding, that as was color coded to call attention to comments.
Yep.
Like the very bottom, like recommended by the regional public health nurse for, Shrewsbury, Grafton, West Boylston, will that remain in it, or is that a comment that would get removed?
So Kim wrote that because we as a policy committee came up with that as necessary to be added to the policy. So that's the only thing that's been added since legal looked at it and the union.
So
So if you feel it's not impactful enough to have to go back through the process, then I would expect that we would approve it in its current form.
I'm still unclear as to whether that last sentence gets removed from the,
It's added. It says, following policy committee 916, this information has been added. right? Do you have the commentary in the
Okay, so,
margin there?
the recommended, that last sentence, recommended by regional public remains
Correct.
okay, so there's nothing, except for the sidebar comments, there's nothing that is being added or removed from this version. It's only that the colors will be removed, correct? The highlights.
Yep.
Okay.
Just a quick follow-up question to that, Aaron.
Yes.
So the comments there around fees being waived and the other one around return to work protocol still in effect. Is there any updates needed to the language, or are those going to be removed? I'm just curious if.
So I guess it's up to you guys. Do you want to see the legal commentary when this comes to the board or not? So I think Kim just left it in. We didn't really put a lot of thought into it
Okay.
because it seems that's where most of the questions are. And that's why we couldn't bring the other policies to the board, because there was voluminous commentary on it. So we felt it needed to come back. So in this case, we already have a policy that waives late fees. So
Okay.
their comment is kind of null. Right?
Right,
And maybe we
yeah.
should have deleted it before it came to the board.
See, I actually think it's appropriate to leave it in because, yeah, it does happen to be the case that we waive fees now.
Yeah.
But in the future, if we decide that we're not going to waive the fees, we don't want to have to come back and rewrite this. So it makes sense to leave it as is, whether we incur fees or not.
Okay. Well, we don't say anything about fees here
Yeah.
because we have a separate policy for that. They just added it as a commentary of, oh, did you think about this?
So the comments from AR1 isn't from you, it's from the legal team.
Correct.
I thought that was you because of the,
I don't know
That's
where the
perfect.
initials come from,
Yep.
but yeah.
okay.
Yep. So, any further discussion?
I think it sounds like there's an open question if we should ask it to go back and have a comment on late fees, Carrie, or if we feel good with it as it is without talking about the late fees.
I was comfortable with it. I apologize, I don't have it in front of me. I did look at it previously.
Yeah.
I was comfortable with it as is. I guess my comment was, is if we had a comment and we said that we're going to waive the fees, I don't think that we would need to strike it. But if
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not in there, I'm totally.
It's not
okay.
in there. Now I
Yeah,
understand.
so, yeah.
It's just,
So-
they were just asking,
Yeah.
like, oh, have you
Yeah, so
considered this?
I'm
Alright.
fine with it, yeah.
Any other discussion or questions on the policy? Prabhu, anything on your end?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. So then I guess, do we need to make a motion on?
I think the motion was made.
Do we need to make a motion that it's the cleaned version with the comments removed?
If
Just
you,
because I
if you
think the
want,
final one we want to post would have the comments removed, correct?
of course. Yep.
Okay. All right.
So we don't need to revise the motion, we're just,
I guess by unanimous consent, as chair, you can just agree that it's understood that the motion includes those changes.
Perfect.
Just by unanimous consent, if no one else, has any objection.
Okay. If there's no objection, we'll move forward with the cleaned up version. So we'll then do a vote. So Prabhu,
Prabhu, I.
Chris, aye.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye?
Rachel, I.
Roger, aye.
Thank you for all your work, policy committee. I
Yeah.
know there's a lot of time and energy that goes into this, so.
So this is a huge milestone for us. We haven't had policy approved in at least a year. More because the policy committee hasn't been able to operate, and we have been operating, but when we've been giving policies, we weren't getting them back soon enough. So this is just a taste. There's a lot more to come.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to it.
So now on to the really big reason why I'm here tonight, because this could have been postponed. But the big question for the policy committee and the main reason we met was to discuss the policies that were removed from the website. Okay, is everybody ready to kind of hear what we came up with? And I think towards the end of it, I would probably expect a motion to approve the slate or any adjustments you guys want to make to the slate as we have reviewed as a policy committee, because there I'll preface it with, yes, there's some we feel should go back up, and there's some that we feel should stay off, and actually be retired and or revised, okay? So the first one is called the facilities rental policy. I don't think I have a note that we should take it down, but I think we don't really have a way to have people in the building, right? That having people in the building is a liability, so we don't really have a way to allow them into the building. So, and really, who would be responsible for allowing after hours access, right? So, I guess until we have a way to do that, and I think that was a procedural piece that Doug had kind of spent a lot of time and effort on. If we feel that that piece is ready, then yes, we can put the facilities rental policy back on the website in its current form.
I had a question for you on facility rental. The full name of the policy, at least as it's printed, says facility rental policy for individuals or groups without nonprofit status. And it wasn't entirely clear. Within the policy, it mentioned deference given to town-sponsored functions. But I didn't see whether or not the facility rental policy excludes like town boards or committees using the rental, that community room. And where is that covered?
Are you saying we should have a separate policy for that? Or
No, I'm saying it
Not covered
wasn't,
in here?
it wasn't clear to me whether or not, what the sort of policy was for boards and committees.
Okay, so I would say the scope of this policy is for individuals or groups without nonprofit status, right? So I would think that, unless we're saying that boards or committees from the town, they don't officially have nonprofit status. So,
Doesn't that include too, though, like if people want to use it for like a baby shower, right? Like they're not
Right.
a force, like, I think it's pretty broad, right? So as long as you're not
yeah, I
a
mean,
for-profit business, I
But
feel like
this,
it
this
includes it.
speaks to after hours.
Yes.
So it wasn't entirely clear what the policy was, if there is one, about anyone using it, including like a board or committee of the town within operating hours.
Well, I think within,
yeah.
Not this policy.
Because I thought that this read entirely,
you may have found a niche, right?
okay,
And I would say that with a town property,
Mhm.
the town can use it in the way that, you know, they need to use it for town business,
mhm.
right? So that wouldn't, you know, we as a board of trustees don't have, you know, nonprofit status. So I don't know that we would charge our group or, you know, the finance committee or any other town committees or organizations.
So as far as,
Town property.
all right, so as far as the use is concerned, because we used to be open till 9, meetings and things like that, that used to occur at 7 would usually have no problem getting out of there by 9. And I'm aware that the select board did host the other night a meeting of the Ask Me Anything. And so that started at 7, and because of that, it was unlikely, and neither party, library or the town, realized that there would end up being sort of this like conflict where there's no way that that sort of would have gotten out by 8, you know?
This is why, this is a completely different conversation.
I know,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is where does that fit in? You know, because it's sort of like there's this gray area about what policies or,
well,
what policy or policies
Not
would
this one.
cover, you know, who can use that particular room, number one, within the operating hours, and number two, what happens if it's anticipated that it may go beyond closing time. It's a niche
Yeah.
type of thing, but it may start happening because we used to have, I mean, at least the select board, when the building was open till 9 and it started at 7, that never happened.
Yeah, so I think the scope of this policy, and keep me honest here, Erin, is just for anyone who wants to rent and use the facility when they are not open. So the
Right.
case you talked about is when it's partially open, and it really comes back to we then need to staff, and that's why the fees put in to pay for staffing and coordinating that. So I would think because of the example you have, it does include some during business hours, this policy wouldn't apply because it would cross over both, right? Because you can only rent the community room when it's closed for the scope of this policy. Is that accurate, Erin?
So any groups using the library during business hours are expected to vacate the premises when the library closes. They cannot stay after hours unless they've made arrangements.
Right.
And that's when something like this might come into play.
Okay.
But like you said, for nonprofits, or rather
All right.
town business.
So then, I
Sure.
guess between the board then and the library and either you as an interim director or, when we have a permanent director, that any group, like a committee that wants to use it, that there's some sort of parameters that, if there's something that's going to happen that would likely take someone beyond that closing time, then probably isn't wise to book it as late as 7. Maybe 6:30 is better.
That's
Or
why
I
on the,
think we
policy
can
committee
take
meets
that
at
one,
6:30.
Okay.
that one off to the side, right? Because that
Okay.
seems
Right.
outside the scope of that and
Okay.
very specific. So definitely something we can talk about. And I think there's
Okay.
been a lot of discussions around it.
right.
But just in terms of this policy specific, I guess I did have one question, Erin, right? There was a comment around Doug's been working on procedures and stuff.
Yep.
Do we feel like because there's two parts, one, right? One, do we pass this as it is? But then I think the question is, do we post it or not? Do we feel like the procedures are in a good enough spot that if we posted this tomorrow and someone externally tried to use it, that we could support that? And I guess I'm kind of looking at Eugene, so.
I think that I need to review this based on some things that have happened and make sure, number one, the staff is protected and know what to do if,
Yeah.
they bump up against the policy. So I have some questions when I look through it. I'd like to look through it again. I would be hesitant to, if I'm not really sure of it, to hand this over to a permanent director if I didn't feel completely comfortable with it myself. So to me, it's kind of, there are different ones. There could be, we're talking about one that maybe starts during business hours, but then goes after business hours, and then there's the other one that's after business hours, or on a Saturday, or maybe even on a Sunday, which would be a whole different thing.
Right.
And so staffing, I think we probably have to figure that part out. I've worked on that, just some draft notes, and I have a bunch of suggestions that maybe we would have a separate policy meeting
Right,
to discuss and
right.
see where that goes.
Okay. Yeah, I think
I'm willing to work on it. I think it's a good idea, but
Right.
I think it's
Yeah.
not quite ready.
And whether
And
you
I
call it
guess
a
the-
policy or procedure, I think as a best practice, both parties would go into a function, the evening of a function or weekend of a function, knowing what the expectations were regarding time limit and staffing.
Right.
So,
Did you, so I guess, Erin, with that conversation, do you still want to keep this one for reinstatement or just go back and take it for a little more conversation first?
So the policy committee's recommendation was to not post this one.
Oh,
It did-
okay,
so-
sorry, I have it
so
under
we're
the
looking at the
consideration
website.
for reinstatement
The-
section.
Yeah, these are all the policies that are, taken down from the website, right? I guess maybe my notes aren't as good as I thought they were.
No, that's okay,
Um,
I read it the opposite, so that's why I
Yes,
was.
so we're not ready to allow people into the building after hours, so we don't need this policy until we're ready to do that.
Perfect. Is that same thing for the circulation, internet, and piano that you?
Well, hold on just a moment,
Okay.
before we move on. So I think a lot what Roger was talking about was meeting room policies, meeting room use policies.
okay, so I was referencing the wrong section.
So we do have a meeting room use policy. It's a completely different policy.
So in that context, that room can either be a meeting room.
It is a meeting room.
All right.
Yep.
So facility rental could be just that room in bathrooms, but you're saying you're saying that it would fall under meeting room policy then?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we can either vote on these individually or vote them on a slate, but
Can we just confirm, so we're saying for meeting room policy, we're recommending it, the
So,
policy
sorry,
committee
this is
recommended?
facilities rental.
Facilities rental.
Oh, facilities,
Yep.
okay, sorry.
So you're recommending not to reinstate.
Right, we're not ready to allow people in the building after hours. And the only time you can use this policy is after hours. Somebody couldn't rent the library during business hours. So it's kind of a chicken and egg thing.
I think if people are open to it, I might be happy to do them one at a time as we go through them, since there are quite so many.
Yep.
Just vote on them as we do
That
that.
sounds great.
Perfect. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, motion to approve the facility rental policy as listed. Or not, sorry,
To not reinstate.
to not reinstate, excuse me.
You
Is
could
there
just say the recommendation of the policy committee not to reinstate.
Sure.
That works. Is there a second?
Do you want to just clarify?
Sure, so the motion to follow the recommendation of the policy committee to not reinstate the facility rental policy.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All right. Prabhu, you're up for voting.
Prabhu, aye.
Chris, aye.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye.
Rachel, I.
Roger, I.
All right, and it's unanimous. Perfect.
Okay. So the next policy that was taken down is the internet use policy. And I think we probably would run into a lot of problems. I'm not going to say legal problems, but if we don't have an internet use policy and we're allowing people to use the internet at the library, we can't continue to function without one. So whether it needs major revisions, we didn't get the opportunity to really look at it in depth during the policy committee meeting because we ran out of time and it wasn't available in one of our sources. But Kim graciously found it, and it's included in your packet, the internet use policy. And the policy committee is recommending that we reinstate that tonight.
Can I ask a question? Jean, did you have a chance to read the internet use policy?
No, really, but I'm pretty familiar with these. It looks like it contains all the information that we should have.
And so Aaron, the policy committee's recommendation is to reinstate this, and it sounds like with like priority review at the next meeting, since it wasn't reviewed previously?
Yes, it hasn't been reviewed since 2021. So it's, maybe there's some inaccuracies that need to be reviewed.
Okay.
But that would be this policy subcommittee to re-review that. Unless we felt something was glaring and we wanted to do a revision tonight and vote it in with some revision. But it doesn't seem like anybody has anything glaring to warrant making a drastic change to it.
So I think that there are probably a couple, like this, under printing via Princh. I'm not even sure what Princh is.
Yep, that's an old service, yeah.
Yeah, so we'd want to like just kind of revise that. Most of the content, I think, looks appropriate, but I probably want to eyeball it a little bit more closely and make sure
Great.
there's nothing.
So is the recommendation we just strike out the printing section for now before we post?
I think Princh was something that was really surrounding the pandemic, and this was written during the pandemic. They do have fees for printing. It says, please see staff for assistance with print preview to determine the cost of printouts. So we could strike out printing is available for a fee via Princh and be fine with it.
Or just say available for a fee and then take out the print. Just take out that word print.
Yep.
All right, so I think we're saying just take out via Princh.
Yes,
And that
I think
works.
that would do it, right?
Okay. Anything else that seems like? All right. If there's no more discussion, do we have a motion to vote that in with the adjustment of taking out via Princh in the printing section?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the Grafton Public Library Internet Use Policy with the adjustment noted in the printing section to strike the last two words of the first sentence, which are via Princh, as recommended by the policy subcommittee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, so we'll go ahead and vote. Prabhu?
Prabhu, aye.
Chris, aye.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye.
Rachel, I.
Roger, I.
All right, thank you. And we just had Doug join, so Doug, you can get in on the next round of voting. We're doing policies, so feel free to join.
What happened to circulation?
So, just a point of order.
Yeah.
So when we make a motion and second, that's always say, is there any discussion on the motion?
Okay.
Right? I know we talk about it beforehand, so likely there isn't any discussion, but I think it's always good procedurally to just offer that.
Happy to
And then
have
it
that
makes
in.
it a lot easier to, then people know okay, now I vote.
All right, we can do that.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know if you have circulation or piano policy you want to talk about next?
Yes, so the next one I have is minimum staffing policy, okay?
We had that in the,
Oh, so I'm going from my notes. I can go in order if you want. So which one's next?
Circulation.
we had circulation. I think this is where there was a little bit of, yep, so wave circulation was next, and this was under consideration for retirement.
Oh, gee.
You can
Okay.
keep going through your notes and we'll follow along. on
Yeah,
our end.
I'm sorry. Thank you. So circulation policy, there was a lot of inconsistencies here because it was last revised in 2018. So there's things like you have to remove the section about hours, remove section about fines, automatic renewal, remove teacher services and portal databases. So this one really has to come back to policy committee for modernization. And we think that we can do it rather quickly.
So for this one, I spoke with Mary because I was kind of following up. It seemed like there were redundancies. This one actually was already taken off, and the content was integrated into a couple of other ones. So we actually don't need this one at all.
Do you know which policy that is?
Yes, some of the content was in the material selection policy, some of it was in the volunteer policy, and some of it was in the library display policy.
Okay.
So maybe we'll table this one, Erin, and then if you guys want to bring it next time to be like official retirement, is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, Mary had been in a meeting.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah, so that's it. We think this needs to come down for some either modernization or complete retirement.
Oh, I guess I should clarify, because this is under the section for reinstatement, so this is actively posted, and so you're looking to pull it down.
No, this one is not actively posted.
So do we want to just formalize that we want to officially remove it? Because I think we didn't vote to remove it previously, right? It was just taken down, so.
Whether for revision or just permanent
Yep.
Just
removal, yeah.
yeah, and we can do the same thing every time and either goes back up or it comes down.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right. Is there a motion?
Oh, I can make it. Motion to follow the recommendation of the policy subcommittee to remove or keep the circulation policy off the website.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, we'll vote. Prabhu?
Trouble I.
Chris, I.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye.
Rachel, I.
Roger, I.
Doug, I.
All right, and unanimously passes.
Great.
All right, which ones do you have next?
Well, you tell me which one's next.
I have piano policy next, and it's under consideration for reinstatement, so if there's a different recommendation, we can clarify that first.
Yep, so there was just a few items. We felt that this was important because it was an investment for the library, and we wanted to just kind of have some rules surrounding its use. And if people had questions, they could refer to the policy. So we read through it, and we felt it was still good. The only thing that we want to remove is change where the expense comes from for tuning it and how often it's tuned. Because when you put something in a policy that says it's going to be tuned twice annually and we're not doing it, then you can be challenged on it. And then it really wasn't important where the expense came from to tune it. So we didn't really need to call that out in the policy. But beyond that, we felt it was good to go back on the website.
Is that one in the packet?
It's on
Yeah,
page
it was in-
Page 60,
59.
it looks like, or 59, yeah.
Thank you. you waiting for a motion then? I make a motion to accept the piano policy, given the two red lines that Aaron mentioned.
Second?
Second?
Any discussion? All right, I will take a vote.
Trouble I.
Chris, aye.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye.
Rachel, I.
Roger, aye.
Doug, aye.
All right. The next one we have is a section that's called additional review by subcommittee needed, and it's the volunteer policy and the program policy are under those.
Program policy, and what was the other one?
A volunteer policy.
Ooh, those aren't, I don't have notes on those. So this is very specific to what is on the website as to what was taken down. So volunteer policy is not on the website, and neither is, what was the other one?
Program policy?
Both seem to have quite a number of comments.
Those were recommendations from legal, and there was a lot of commentary that needs to go back to the policy committee on those. So I get the website right here, so you guys can, I don't know if you want to pull it up on the Zoom call, but the directive from the board was for the policy committee to go through and see if we can put these back up or not, right? So I'm just going to keep going, if you guys don't mind.
Oh, well, no, I guess the question for those, are you recommending we vote to keep them removed while they're under review or to put them back up? Because it sounds like they have a lot more discussion and feedback from legal.
So you're talking about policies that were never on the website. You're talking about a volunteer policy and something else. Those, we did not talk about. Those are new policies that
Oh, they're new policies.
came through the whole
Okay.
process, and we're not voting on those tonight.
Okay.
Got it. So those are new ones. So they,
Yeah.
I didn't know if you meant they had been like taken down at some
No,
point.
these
So
are
those
brand
not.
new policies.
Okay,
that,
perfect. So we'll
yeah.
vote for
The
those.
legal commentary.
Yeah, so there was 5 of them, just, we're backtracking a little bit. There are 5 policies that went to legal,
Yeah.
and the union, we found only one was okay, and that's one we brought to you tonight, which was the pandemic epidemic policy. The others we'll have to review and incorporate changes and go through the process.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry about that.
No. I just want to make sure we're all aligned.
Yep.
So then the last section we have was labeled as consideration for retirement. So it's the notary naming rights, minimum staffing
Yeah.
policy, service for disabilities, and accident policy.
Okay, so I'll start with minimum staffing policy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of kind of rules and logic surrounding when the library should be open, when it should be closed, and how many people in this section versus if one person goes to lunch, and how many people in that section. It was very, very procedural. And we felt it was better to allow the library management to kind of decide if they felt they needed to keep the library open or closed because of staffing constraints, right? And, you know, whether you have the policy or not, and you decide to close, it doesn't matter so much to the public to have this policy. They can say, why did you close? You know, minimum staffing constraints or something, the staffing constraints. Oh, let me see the policy. It's not gonna make them feel any better whether, you know, we had very strict guidelines on when we close. It's all very procedural. So we're recommending to the library board to take this policy down. And as much as I know there's a lot of history on this policy, I'm recommending as well that we should probably remove it because it doesn't really serve a lot of value, right? We're talking about value. And remember, there's 31 policies that the policy committee has to manage. So if we feel as a board this is necessary and there's value, then absolutely we'll have to rewrite it because in its current form it needs some work.
Is it common for a library to have a staffing policy posted?
Not for the public, no.
Okay, so it's more
an internal
procedural.
Policy. It can change according to union rules or a lot of other things too. So.
Do we know if there's anything in the union contract related to minimum staffing?
And not that I'm aware of, it, you know, that's sort of the same kind of content, so no. Unless there was some.
So you don't think there should be some guidance on just a minimum of X number of people in the library? Because isn't there gonna be a question if there's 5 or there's 4 or there's 6, like there's, don't they need some guidance on,
Isn't that the union contract?
that's
I mean,
what, I'm not sure.
This was written before the union
It was, you're right.
was in place. So maybe this is duplicative? Insofar as, staffing.
But Jean, you're saying that typically it's an internal policy, not an external policy?
It might be under guidelines, under director responsibilities, which could change, and the director would either loop in the board or the administration or however that's gonna work. It might even be out of our determination if the town closes, or could be, they couldn't get plowed in winter. I mean, there's a number of things that could impact it. So it's generally an internal policy, and as long as it doesn't conflict with anything in the CBA, which I don't believe it does, then I don't think that it would be a public policy.
That makes sense to
Yeah.
me. But
I don't see anything in the union contract right off the bat. So why don't we, Aaron, would you recommend that we go ahead and vote to retire this one and then evaluate if we need to rewrite it, since it sounds like it would need considerable rewrite anyways?
Yeah, and if you ask the policy committee to rewrite it, with the permanent director, we as a board have to figure out where the value is, right?
Definitely.
And figure out what gap we're trying to fill. And maybe even just make it very simple, because the way it's written now is very convoluted.
Agree.
So, yes.
Is there a motion to remove?
So,
I want to do this.
You go for it.
Sorry, let me just correct it.
Yes.
There is a statement in the union, at least the version I found, it says Article 12, hours of work / working conditions, 12.4, the town shall follow the minimum staffing requirement policy as approved by the Board of Library Trustees dated June 23rd, 2021.
Interesting.
Which is this.
Is that
okay, so
this date?
It's the
Yeah.
previous version of this, but yes. Last revised.
I see, yeah.
So we probably want to hold and take it back to the committee and have a conversation with the town administration office on it before we make a decision, because it could have impacts.
So I guess the thought tonight is we either put it back or leave it off pending further review. And I think what I'm hearing is pending further review, whether it's necessary or not. So the board is looking to see if we can retire this. And if we can't, then okay.
but if it's in the union agreement, I think we can't.
Well, that's a question we'd have to ask the
Yes.
town administrator, if it's something that is,
So we'd like to retire
we'd like
it,
to retire it.
period.
That's what I would recommend, then, that we just defer this to next month, and in the meantime, I can reach out to the town administrator, or someone can.
Okay, so I don't think we need a motion at the moment.
This is currently not posted, or it currently is?
It was, and it was taken down.
Okay.
now, who took it down and in what manner?
The previous director.
All right, so I guess, through you, Madam Chair, seeing what the board thinks of the fact that it's possible that, I guess it's my opinion that without board input, a director wouldn't have had jurisdiction just to unilaterally remove it in the first place. So my thought is that it would be proper to take a vote to keep it off,
Yep. That's
to
what-
formalize that.
Great.
Yep.
All right.
Would it still be active, whether if we take it off, since we haven't removed it?
However we want to place it, I would think that taking no action would be improper because I'm saying that it was removed without the board say so.
Yeah,
I think if we vote and take it off, it's still active, right? Just because it's not there, if someone
Right.
needs it, they could come to Jean
Right.
or the policy committee. So I think it's still active,
just not present on the website.
just not present on the website. So we're essentially not saying you have to put it back on the website, because we know we're
Right.
reviewing and going through the process
Okay.
now.
Yeah. So
We can't invalidate the CBA language, but we still have it, and the CBA is
Mhm.
It's a new contract and it might be tied in with that.
So I guess what I'm expecting tonight, based on the way the website is right now, these are the policies we're talking about. They say under review. I would assume that, or expect that the ones that we decided to take down would no longer appear as under review, with the exception of this one so far.
Yep.
That one would remain as the only one that says under review. And the others that we vote to bring back, like the piano policy, would just show back up again. Okay,
Did you
Um,
say you wanted to make the motion
yep.
on this? Okay.
so I will make a motion to, take down the minimum staffing policy for further consideration with the town and the policy committee, and to be reviewed at a later date by this board.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right. Prabhu?
Prabhu, I.
Chris, aye.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye.
Rachel, I.
Roger, aye.
Doug, aye.
All right, passes unanimously.
Okay, we're making great progress. Thank you for your patience. So the next one I have is the notary policy. It's just not something that
We don't offer.
that we don't offer anymore. It doesn't provide a lot of value to the community to have somebody who's a notary on staff at the library. I think it also adds some legal implications, but the town clerk or banks can do notary services. So there's other places in town that the public can get notary services. So our recommendation is to retire this policy.
I make a motion to remove the notary policy.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Yes, I have just one sort of side comment or question. So, makes complete sense to remove it because we no longer offer that service. So is it universally understood by staff when someone comes in front of them and says, do you have notary services? And the answer is no, to direct them exactly who in town, starting with the town clerk, to go to? Is that universally understood by staff?
I will check on that because I know where I was before, we always referred them to the town clerk. And most banks also have a notary public.
Right.
So we can find out, and we can even just give them a little handout. So they
Yeah,
can
that would be
check.
nice.
So I
Yeah.
can follow up with that.
All right, thank you so much.
Any other discussion? All right, with that, we'll go into voting.
Prabhu, I.
Chris, aye.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye.
Rachel, I.
Roger, aye.
Doug, aye.
All right, unanimously passes.
Great. So the next one I have is the service to people with disabilities policy. So this was written in 2020, and the recommendation of the policy subcommittee is to remove this from the website and retire it. We reviewed it, and it's really just a list of services that the library offers, and it's not really important to call out. That, yeah, we can offer curbside service, or, staff can visit nursing homes or whatever it is, although that has legal implications too, to go out in the community and start delivering books. But that said, this policy was really just a list of services the library offers to make accommodations, and it really wasn't important to call out in an official policy.
Do
So,
we have,
all right, I guess, do we wait for a motion then to discuss versus starting a discussion before a motion?
Yeah, I mean, usually it's a discussion on the motion, so like
Yeah.
if somebody has a motion, we
Right.
discuss the motion, but if you want to talk about it ahead of time, we can.
Yeah, I guess I understand that to have it as a policy is not necessary, but I would like to see this maintained as a sort of a consolidated document so that people who are looking for services regarding disability-related issues, that they at least have a place to go. In other words, I wouldn't be in favor of deleting this information I'm okay with removing it as a policy, but simply putting this intact elsewhere.
It
And-
doesn't
and then-
provide value, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and I think, putting my other hat on as Accessibility Advisory Commission Chair in town, these are the type of things that committee or commission would, weigh in on, and I can only speak for myself and not representing that committee, but being familiar with these issues, I think this document, as an educational document, even if it's not a policy, I think there's a lot of people that would find this very valuable, so.
I did have a quick question, Aaron. So at the top, there is a statement, right, that it really affirms our support of the Equal Access Disability Act, et cetera. Like, is that somewhere in another policy? Like, if we take this down, can we make sure that ends up in another one?
So I recommend at the least we should be on our website.
Yeah.
On the main page, even with an icon or image or something.
Right.
And maybe even depending on how we have to look at our website, it doesn't flow correctly, but
Right.
there's ways that we could just appear in the same place on every page, because I do think that it's really important that
Yeah.
we acknowledge that we are following all elements of the ADA.
Yep.
So placing it on our website, I don't know if you need anything else, or if that would, suffice.
So I guess, if we do remove it as a policy, okay, and I don't want to get into a big discussion here, is there anything in this document, though, that is outdated or factually incorrect, that there may not be certain home delivery services or things like that? Is there anything that would be, that is inaccurate, that if we did put this on the website but not as a policy, that someone may be expecting a service that may not be offered any longer?
Well, I think if it's not a policy, then it can just go up to the library's normal update
Right.
process. So I don't think we have to get too involved with that,
Okay.
right? So I think if Jean does take it and have a one-pager with it,
Yeah,
we would expect it to be updated with relevant information like everything else you all put out. So
Okay.
I think we could, at that
Right.
point, step back from the
Yeah.
weeds on it.
And I even see how they've got home delivery, but it implies that the library staff are doing the home delivery, but in fact, I guess it's volunteers.
Mhm.
That's a whole other area.
right.
So
Yeah.
I think it's more like it's very basic and it doesn't go quite far enough in some areas that we would want to. So maybe for now, linking to the ADA, which is pretty extensive,
Right.
Okay.
might suffice for now.
So you saying that you wouldn't put this up as informational yet?
I wouldn't. I think that it needs to go through. These can be very legally sensitive
Okay,
things too. So we
Okay.
want to have it. Whatever we put up, legal just take a look at.
All
it
right,
to
sounds
make
good.
sure Not only that what's there is correct, but that we haven't left out something that's important.
right.
And use the
Okay.
correct language. And so
Okay.
forth, so.
All right, and so while I have that hat on, Accessibility Advisory Commission is always ready, willing, and able to put in their expertise on these matters, to do its own research as well, and help the library come up with a comprehensive document, so.
All right, so to recap, it sounds like the ADA compliance language is gonna go on the website, and then we'll retire this and pull it down and figure out the best way to distribute the services or communicate the services. Is that a fair recap? Aaron, is that?
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Could I ask one other question? And this is kind of just the thing I've been thinking about is, do we think that there's a larger affirmative statement by maintaining it as a policy, or continue it as a policy? It seems like there may be a couple inaccuracies or additional information that needs to be updated. And I certainly agree with Roger that if we do decide to take it down, I'd love to see this information elsewhere. But I wonder if it seems like part of the reason for taking it down is just an additional policy. And I wonder if it's worth maintaining just because of the nature of it.
I think that's a fair point, because right now we're saying that Eugene's going to make sure that we have it on the website, but at some point, what if somebody deletes it off the website, not thinking about having it there? If it's in the policy, then it can't come down without the board, approving it theoretically, right?
So that's a great point. the question on the table is, this is just a list of services the library provides, not a policy.
I might argue that the first two sentences or whatever at the top is really the important part.
Service to people with disabilities policy.
And I was trying to get on, I can't get on the Wi-Fi here, but
Yeah.
I think that's somewhere in our mission statement, right, in the,
Mhm.
on the webpage, I think. So I would think, like, that, to me, that's describing what the mission of the library is, those first two sentences,
Mhm.
or at least the first one.
I think taking
And
a
I-
look at this in a holistic way, because it's children's through policy that steps into this a little bit, in my opinion, it's not inclusive enough, and it has caused some problems, so it's not just this, it's some other policies that might have content related to it, that we should take a bigger look at it and make sure it's aligned.
That was the reason why it was taken down,
Yeah.
because the previous director had noted, with some of the library staff, that this
So
is
do
just a
we-
list, and that's why they took it down. So,
Do we
Yep.
take it down and not retire it then?
well, do we want it to be a board policy? That's the question.
Yeah, to me, that doesn't really seem like a policy per se, it's just a list of services, which to me makes sense just to have in the library available, like for a handout or somewhere posted, but it doesn't seem perfectly or applicable for a policy.
So I'll leave it up to the board.
Could we just have it be like a very short policy that just says, the board, ensure, I guess, supports and compliance with the ADA policy? Like, have you seen that in other policies? Like,
Yeah.
just an affirmative statement, and again, like, take out the specifics, but.
And I even think that you have to, as a matter of fact, if I look back in my web design sort of notes, I think that you have to have something when you're public. There's some ADA minor issues with the website anyways, and they need to be looked at more broadly.
Okay.
But I think we certainly should have that as minimum, and a link to the sites, because then if they change, you've got the direct link, and we don't have to worry about making sure our policy is updated according to the links, and that's a very big field these days, to make sure that you really. So I think policy, no matter what you do, is going to be limiting, that you can't include everything, so you just want to be careful. My concern would be make sure any other policies we have are in alignment, or not saying something contradictory or in some way that will cause a problem with interpretation or anything like that. So I think looking at it big, and then making a decision, do we need a short policy that encompasses, everything, or a smaller one for children? And at the end of the day, you can't make a policy that defies the ADA, so, you kind of have to go along, and should go along with that anyway.
So do we then just vote to officially pull it down while we evaluate how service and disabilities appear through all the policies?
And just have it pulled down and then just say, under revision?
Well, because I think it's already pulled down and says under revision, is that right, Erin?
Correct. These are all
So just,
under review.
So just
but
say
just
we're
vote-
okay, vote that we're okay with that,
Yeah.
and then as the policy committee goes through this larger review, and then we can come back and shore things up, so that way, Chris, we can make sure, to your point, we're still covering it somewhere and it's not getting lost, but it's not up.
I think that's the safest way to proceed.
And I think in the meantime, I'll check our website and see if we've got a link there.
Mhm.
Because we can certainly.
Do you know if the MBLC or ALA provide significant guidance in this area?
Yeah, they do provide some, so does CW Mars, because they write technology policies, and that's included with some of those too, so I can look those up and
Okay.
to compare them if you want.
All right. And I'll, if the board is so willing, reach out to the Mass Office on Disability to see if they have any overlapping information that pertains to libraries.
Yep.
If everyone's okay with that. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Since everyone has asked, I did have one question.
Sorry, Trevor.
No worries, no worries. What are the other vehicles of communicating, or postures or procedures or whatnot, apart from a policy? I thought it was either a policy or there was nothing else that a library would communicate to the patrons, right?
Well, our website,
In the website. If it's not a policy, are there other vehicles in a website, what do we say? Is that a procedure? Is that a guideline? Is that a newsletter?
I think it's information through pamphlets, all the different items that someone can get at the library. Could you turn the volume down on the laptop? Yeah, we just need to mute it.
Maybe
but
probably
yeah.
could mute.
Yeah, to
Glenn.
me, it's just like, the teen library has recommendations for teens, like new books, and this is just kind of like recommendations for people with disabilities. So it'd be kind of like a informational packet that is available in the library somewhere.
And we have other things similar to this.
There's people nodding their head yes.
Yeah, there's a lot
Okay.
on the website.
Sorry.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
He can't see us.
Yeah. All right. So
I wouldn't
do we
worry
have
about
a
his volume.
motion
Worry about
then?
your volume.
Was there a motion on the table?
Well, I think we need to make a motion.
Oh,
We haven't yet that we're going to
And
be
you can
okay
just
with
speak
it
this
pulled
because it's
down.
coming
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm comfortable at making, so I make a motion to,
That's your speaker.
to keep, okay, so this one is, okay. I make a motion to keep the service to people with disabilities policy removed from the website with the comment under review.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
So will it show up on the website at all?
Just,
No
just
link.
as it is.
Right, but no link.
Right.
Right,
Just
okay.
under
perfect.
review.
All right, second, if no one
Like,
seconded it.
very- All right, any, Carrie seconded.
All right,
No, I made the motion, Doug
Oh, Doug
seconded.
All right.
seconded, sorry. All right, so with that, we'll vote Prabhu,
Who I?
Chris, I.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye?
Rachel, I.
Roger, I.
Doug, aye.
All right, and it passes unanimously. So that leaves our last one, naming rights policy.
I have two more.
Response to accident.
Okay. Oh, sorry, that's the last one, yes.
So the naming rights policy, it's a little outdated and it doesn't serve a purpose anymore. So in the event that we do have things to name, we would have to revise it and then we could bring it back to the board to be voted into policy again. So our recommendation is to leave that one removed from the website.
This isn't retirement though, just to leave removed while it's under review.
No, we're not agreeing to review it until it's necessary to review it. So if you want to use the word retire, then yes, I think that's appropriate.
And then create a policy in the instance that there's a need for naming rights?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Theoretically, we could have, at any time, we could have a donor wanting to come in, have
Yeah.
naming rights. For example, we don't have the community room named yet.
Yeah.
So there were specific verbiage in the current policy that the committee thought should be modified.
I don't know that we had maybe about an hour to get all this done.
Sure.
So I don't know that we really looked at this one with a.
I mean, I'm okay retiring it, but I
under a
think,
microscope because we felt it was like, okay, that's why it was removed in the first place. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we felt that if we had something to name, we could.
Right.
We could take a look
Resurrect
at it.
which I'm okay with. I mean,
Yeah.
because I do we want to be able to potentially accept some donor naming rights if something comes up.
Yeah, so
So-
what we could agree to do is just put this on our list of policies to review. It would probably be a lower one.
Right, a low priority. Yep,
You know,
sounds good.
So leave it removed, but leave it on the listing, but then just say under revision or no, just.
no, because I mean, it would be there for 3 years like that. You know, I would just have it removed from the website and call it retired for now. But you know, we do have all these policies. Yes.
So if I could make a comment, I didn't see a donations policy anywhere.
Yep.
We have one, we could sort of integrate this into it. I recommend we do have a donations policy because everybody wants to clear out, you know, and give things to the library, and you have to have a policy kind of that, or that if you accept a donation, you're not required to keep it for 30 years, and, you know, so, and I didn't see a donations policy anywhere. If we did, this could be integrated into it instead of a whole separate one.
So Carrie or Doug, did you encounter any of this during the
Well-
capital campaign?
Well, all of that went through, that was the whole reason why Dana set up the capital campaign, is to be able to collect the donations. So it's a totally separate entity, so it wouldn't be a library policy, it was the separate capital campaign
Yeah, but the naming rights was written for the
to support.
ability
yeah.
to support the capital campaign
Yeah.
for the renovation project.
But it doesn't necessarily, the intent or some of the goals achieved wouldn't necessarily, although some are achieved. To your earlier point, Doug, that what do we do if someone comes up with some donation, but then again, we don't have a donations policy? Is this incorporated or implied? What does happen then if someone decides to want something, donate and then have something named after them?
I think
That
if we
is-
retire the policy, we would have to resurrect the policy or create a new one
Right.
to make it active.
All right, and
Because the thing about this policy was that it enabled the capital campaign to fundraise for the library
Right.
through this mechanism.
would we want that effort to die? In other words, at some point though, if we do retire this, I think it's in our best interest to somehow agree to some verbiage and medium to advertise to the public that such opportunities do exist for parts of buildings or collections or this and that. And I guess to your point about, at some point maybe integrating a donations policy so that we continue to maybe get funds coming in. But if it's nowhere and no one knows about it,
Right.
we potentially lose that opportunity. So at some point,
That's a great point. So,
And I'd say, sorry, I would just add, the big difference with this is that, these naming rights aren't hundreds of dollars. They were thousands of dollars or more. They were pretty significant donations. So that's why we had the naming rights, so they could get a little plaque that's put on the library somewhere.
Yeah, and I guess, Erin, I'm thinking more like we should retire, because reading this naming rights policy, it has nothing about our ability to remove a name if things come up and things.
Actually.
It should.
Oh,
It does. I was just reading it.
sorry, I was just reading the one in our packet. It's like 2 lines that says, like, per this policy, and there was nothing else in it. So I might
Yeah,
not have
it
the
says-
full one.
If an individual organization named comes into disrepute at the library or in the community at large,
Okay.
they can terminate or alter a naming designation.
It also states that the library board has the right to rename
Okay.
that opportunity as well.
all right.
Yeah.
If-
So I think the only reason this was taken down is because they said, well, we don't need this anymore, and it was outdated. So I'm okay if we decide to keep this for now, and we can put it into the policy rotation. It is pretty old, so it probably would come to the top of the stack sooner than later. But what I'm hearing also is Jean is saying, like, if somebody donates a bench or something, like,
Yeah, or books, like we used to have a program where you would, like, for somebody's birthday, you could donate a book, and then there was a name plaque. I did it with my daughters, so like in honor of so-and-so's birthday.
I did it as
I
well.
donate,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
great. And they had like cute little balloons, it was a really nice program.
Mm.
And if we don't have a policy for that, then we probably should. So maybe it should be, donations and naming rights, like all together.
Yeah,
People sometimes too they want to be helpful, or, they want to, well, the library can use this, or toys or anything. We really can't accept all those.
Yeah.
And there has to be a sort of a diplomatic way to say that.
Yeah.
so is it draft language elsewhere? Like, is it like MBLC or elsewhere or other towns or?
To be local, I know we had a pretty good one where I
Oh,
was
good.
before, so I'll look this up.
so.
So
may I
then do
just
we
make
have
a
to do anything if
suggestion?
we're gonna keep this live?
So, just to answer what Jean was mentioning, so friends take donations.
Well,
If
that's the
it ever
other-
comes
that's what I
up
was gonna
about
say.
somebody wants to give something, we're
Yeah.
talking about, like, monetary donations for books or monetary for benches, or they want to support something from a monetary perspective, not just, to give items to the library,
Yeah, but
Yeah, and those can go
to the
through the
friends.
friends,
Yep,
or they can donate directly to the library. But when
I don't think
it's a
so.
library gift fund, but
Well, that's usually monetary.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. But sometimes people want to donate other things, or
Yeah, I think it's probably the friends. If it's something large enough, I mean, I'm sure
maybe if
we
people
would
wanted to
consider.
donate
Well, I mean,
paintings
we
and
got
they were
telescopes.
accepted,
Mm.
Yeah.
and then we couldn't
I think in the
remove
past,
them because
Yeah.
there was no language for, we were kind of locked into keeping them.
It sounds like there's a lot of tentacles to
Yeah.
this one. So I guess, Erin, what are your thoughts for how you want to propose a vote around this?
I think as long as the policy committee would support this, is that we would, tonight, we would vote to reinstate it, and agree that it would go back to the, because I think the verbiage is fine in the way that it is.
Mhm.
But I think we've also identified some gaps that either can go into this policy or an additional policy about donations. So I guess our recommendation, I think I see head nods, would be to reinstate this one.
yep, okay, so I make a motion to reinstate the naming rights policy.
Second,
Right. Any discussion?
I would just add, I think we've had people wanting to donate physical things, paintings, and the director has just turned them down. Not to any policy, but, I mean, we don't have to accept anything if people want to give us something, so. But
Yeah.
I agree that having some type of donation
I mean,
statement,
another director might say, sure, we'll accept
Right,
that, and then,
right.
you know, is it really up to that one person if it's something
Right.
that's gonna physically change or hang on the wall, and maybe somebody wants it over on this wall, and you know, you can get into sort of some.
Yep.
yeah,
weeds.
no, that's a
Okay.
good point.
Any other discussion? All right, Prabhu?
Prabhu, aye.
Chris, I.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye.
Rachel, I.
Roger, I.
Doug, I.
And it unanimously passes that we'll reinstate the naming rights policy on the website. So the response to accident policy,
Yeah,
the last one.
we're still talking about policy, and I thank you for, see, we're making up for all the lost time, I guess, right, in this meeting. This can be, all right, so the last one, the policy committee felt that this one was okay to remove because a lot of it was internal procedures about what staff should do if there was an accident at the library, you know, who to call and whatnot, and there was a lot of governance around, well, they must call 911 or do this, or it was telling them not to dial 911 or something, but it's all internal procedures that the library staff are fully trained and handled to do on their own. We didn't feel like we needed to have a policy for this. So our recommendation is to remove it from the website, retire the policy.
I make a motion to retire the response to accident policy.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
One question, just for confirmation, is that, so we do have this information here in a handbook or in writing somewhere in library policies? Or whether, maybe not, procedures.
Procedures.
I have not seen it, but I will look. It was not
Okay.
anything I think there's definitely some gaps in where they were old or whatever. Some of it, you have to make sure it's not too subjective, so you're leaving it up to a person to decide. My policy, personal, is whatever you always call, and you let fire department or police determine if they're gonna refuse treatment or anything like that. You don't take it on yourself.
You'd almost think there would be a townwide accident policy, like, right, for any school or,
No. I
Okay.
mean, in addition to that, if somebody hurts himself in the library, that's a whole other thing too. So I always want to call fire or police and let them evaluate, even it seems like nothing, because sometimes it could be something else. So I'd have to see, I haven't seen any documentation, doesn't mean it's not there. I've only been there for a few weeks, I haven't seen everything yet. So I definitely would want to follow up with
Okay.
that. Because I want to be sure.
Yeah,
everybody
somewhere.
knows what they should do or not do.
Okay, and again, this isn't one that you would typically see as a policy, it's more of a
Right, it
procedure.
wouldn't be a public policy
Okay.
in general.
Any other discussion?
Just one. I don't know that it was included in the packet. I don't see it here in the
The
packet.
response, it's on
It's
page
there, isn't it?
75.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
If you need it, I have it, okay.
No, I've got it. Okay, no, that's all.
That will take a vote, Prabhu? Oh,
Prabhu, aye.
oh, hold on, Prabhu.
So
Sorry.
sorry.
Not yet.
I don't think this is the policy that we were looking at, though. At policy committee, Kim.
The response to accident policy?
Is it older versions, you think? Do you
Actually, you're right.
Because
one
this even doesn't have a date on it.
doesn't have a date.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think this is the right one, Kim.
so maybe we'll,
So I think our recommendation stands. The other one was very, very procedural. This one seems very basic. And this one looks more like a form and also an internal. Yeah, this was not the one that was on the website before and the one that we reviewed.
So are we tabling this?
yeah, I think we should,
Maybe.
we
maybe
should probably just table it, but I think we had good discussion, so we should be able to quickly move through it.
And we'll be able to find out if
Next
Gene's
one.
able to locate this in any of the procedures.
Does that work for you, Erin?
Yeah, I think we would need to rescind the motion made on the floor.
Okay.
And we'd
Yeah.
have to,
Yeah, if we think that's not the right policy, then I would withdraw my motion.
Thank you.
And again, this one is already removed from the website. The link is removed from the website and it says under revision,
under review.
Yeah.
under review, okay.
So I guess the alternative would be what? That we would bring the policy in question to the board at the next meeting. So it would remain as under review on the website.
So we would just make a motion to keep it removed from the website with the under review designation.
Yeah, it sounds like you just made it.
That's
So go
great.
ahead.
Is there a second?
Okay. I make a motion that we keep the response to accident policy removed from the policy website with the designation under review.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Prabhu, now you're up.
Sure. Aye.
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye.
Rachel, I.
Roger, I.
Doug, aye.
All right, and we're unanimously passed. Thank you, and thank you, Policy Committee. That is a lot of work, and I know you guys have been waiting
Thank you.
for some votes, so appreciate it. And thank you, Jean. I know you have heavily leaned into the policy stuff, so we appreciate it.
It was a very, very productive 1 hour meeting we had at the library.
And I will add, you're doing an amazing job chairing this. And Doug's just sitting here. It's
I'm loving
great,
this.
isn't it?
I like this.
Yeah, keep it up. Well done.
Oh. All right,
She
so
enjoys it. She's been smiling the whole time.
I know.
I've been
Don't I smile?
focused.
No, not as much as Rachel does.
We're
All right.
smiling more today.
Oh, all right, so I guess now we're on to the director's report. So Jean, I will turn it over to you. And I think this is your first official one, because last time you were 3 days in,
Yes.
so.
That was the easy meeting.
Yeah.
So just to go through one of the things that we initiated, there were several reasons for this, is the welcome desk. We're open 58 hours a week. I feel it's extremely important in terms of safety, security, also welcoming and helping patrons. It's also a way for everybody to feel productive in the same way and sort of bring staff together a little bit too. I've had extremely positive feedback from the staff. They like being down there. We literally have managed to be there 58 hours a week.
Oh, great.
And so we have a log system, so I'm looking to see, maybe another month I'll have more. It's so valuable to patrons. When you come in there, I know it happened to me the first time I came in for my meeting, and there was nobody there. And I was like, well, where do I go? I guess I'll go upstairs. And I found him wandering around. So there's so many, they're trying to use the book return. They don't know where to get their holds. Where's the children's room? Or just good morning and things like that. So it's been very valuable. I take some spaces there as well. I have a hard time getting Kim off of the welcome desk.
Oh, great.
So we're all contributing, 100% participation from everybody in the library. So it's been very good. It's challenging because everybody's already, we're thin, but not so thin that we couldn't make it work. So hopefully, we've had a lot of sickness the last few weeks. So that gets a little bit more challenging, but we're, everybody's, when there's a hole, and I'll send somebody out and somebody will say, yes, I can take it. And I just say, we'll check with your manager first, but it's really been working pretty well. So, and I think it's a really valuable service.
Yeah, I've actually heard positive feedback from a couple community members too. And I agree. I mean, it's a goal. I mean, if you're low on staff and you can't staff it, 24, whatever, not 24/7, but all the time, that's okay too. But I've heard a lot of good results too, or feedback.
So the 3 W's, I just thought I would tell you about these. These are, it's internal to help communicate between the departments because they're kind of siloed. So every week they send me the 3 Ws, what was, what they did last week, what is, what they're doing this week, and what's coming. So some of them have a little short paragraph or a line or two or whatever. So everybody does that. Kim sent one in this week, and I communicate a lot, so I don't participate in that particular piece, but I communicate a lot with emails and so forth. So that goes around to everybody, so everybody sees it and has a little idea what's happening in the library.
That's great. And that's
and-
weekly, you said.
Weekly, yep.
Yeah.
I can communicate more often, but we try to send them out on Tuesday. So if somebody forgets, it might be Wednesday when it goes out. And those are posted in the department, so you can read it. So management and other meetings, those are ongoing all the time with all staff. I'm tabling this for the interviewing for temp positions because I'm kind of reviewing some other things first. So I'll just table this for now because it's not, I'm not interviewing right now. Also tabling this one, but I guess I'll give you a little update on, I'm not going to put in the request today. After Thanksgiving, then we're closed, and it's Saturday the 28th, is that the 29th, that we're open. And so I'll wait until next month to put this in as sort of a formal request for a vote that we don't open on that Saturday and let the staff have that nice solid break. In addition, sometimes that's a good time to clean carpets because they have to dry out over a couple of days. It would be non-precedent setting. If that's going to be permanent, that has to, go a different route. But so anyway, I'll sort of table it, but that's kind of where I was going with that to see if the board would vote to close. I know where I was before. Patrons were always very appreciative of staff and said, yes, you deserve that nice long break. And so it wasn't, it was very rarely seen as a negative, but I'll come back to that next month.
Appreciate
Can I
that.
ask a quick question? I don't know how easy it is to pull the entry numbers, like people coming into the building. Don't we have a system that keeps track of that?
Yes, I tracked down who does it. It's Heidi, so I've got her on my list this week, so she's got the numbers from the doors, so I'll be able to give you
For,
that next.
from I'm curious of what it was last year or the,
Depends on if they kept those in any
Right.
kind of report, so I'll check. I will check. So on the days closed, there was a minor error on one of them. It's not in the packet. Oh. Do you have it? So we just need to amend this one again, or vote on it again, because the previous one left out Saturday, May 23rd. So it was just an omission, and this is, so this one just includes that date.
What is it?
Memorial Day?
Saturday, May 23rd, wasn't on the first one, was that?
I guess what's the document you're talking about?
It was
Jane?
just a sort of a clerical error.
Is it
but
this year,
wasn't in
or
here.
for 2026?
Yes.
I think it's 2026.
I guess my question is this
the
the
library
calendar
closing
of
dates,
closing
I'm assuming,
dates?
library closing dates.
Oh, okay.
So we had a date not on the list, or we had the wrong day?
We had a date not on the list.
And what was that
That
date?
was the 23rd of May, wasn't it?
Is that Memorial Day?
Or the Saturday, or is it Memorial Day or the Saturday of Memorial Day?
We normally close them.
Monday.
Yeah.
So this is the one.
Saturday. Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday, May 23rd was left off the first time, so we just added it in. So you just need to vote again.
Do we, well, I guess my question is, so is this one, a date we normally have off, or is
Yes.
this a new one?
Yeah, it just got left out.
Where
And so
is it
they-
in the packet? Is it in the
I
packet?
don't
It's
think
in
it's
the
in the
packet.
Oh, okay.
Is it, if
It
we
was
can wait
last-
for it to be in the packet for next one, can we
And
vote
we
on
can
it
do
then?
next time, then it put it in the
Okay,
packet.
I didn't know if it had like
Okay.
a date held to it, so.
It does look like the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend.
It may have been a Jewish holiday, because that's the only thing I see. May 22nd is Shavuot 2026, and then May 23rd would be Saturday, and maybe that's why it was on there in the past.
I think it's because it's a long weekend for Memorial Day weekend. but
I don't
usually
see
wasn't.
I don't see anything that says
It
there's
was Memorial Day.
Memorial Day weekend is May 25th. I see.
The
I see
Monday
what
is
you're
the
saying.
25th.
I
Yeah,
see what
so
you're
Sunday
saying.
they're closed, so Monday is the official holiday, and then.
So I think we'll table it till next meeting,
Yeah, and I
right?
think
And
it
we'll
was
get
in
it put in the
union
packet.
contract.
Okay, that helps too, yeah.
So-
So we'll get the official one and then we can approve it next week. That can be Doug's problem next
We
week.
can add that.
See,
Okay.
She is smart.
So just to let you know, in the process of the Halloween planning and the Grafton Celebrates the Holidays, we're in the process of planning those as it's an annual event, pretty important. Building and grounds. So I'm back and forth with the sprinkler system update. I think I'm almost there. I've been working with Tracy. Tracy Sharkey. Also, on October 9th, the building and fire inspection will take place at the library, so that's scheduled. The bikes outside, we did post that on social media and Facebook and I'm not sure which other one. What's the other one? Instagram, thank you. With a picture saying, if this is yours, please contest by the end of the month, and it has my email, I think, and no one's contacted us yet, so I guess I'll have to find out from the town what we do with it. It's not our surplus property.
right.
So, I know, do you have any
what do you
input
call it? Not unclaimed property, abandoned
Abandoned,
property.
Abandoned property, so
Yeah.
I don't think we can just give it away. I don't know, I'll check on that because I'm not sure what we do with them. But nobody has claimed it, and so we gave it till the end of the month, but we haven't heard from anybody.
Yeah.
So we did post that.
Yeah, please check with the town. I just got an update from the recycling person with the Boy Scouts, and they were just wondering how large is the book bin, which I think we can probably just get some measurements, because they want to make sure it'll fit in their dumpster, because they have a finite amount. I'm hoping that it can open up and they could put stuff inside it, right, as they put it in there, because they will pick it up
Okay.
with a truck.
I think, I didn't look at it myself, but my understanding is there's another, like an insert inside it,
Yeah,
but I don't know, and I think it opens from the top.
right.
So that actually there was a question from the Friends about that, because I did ask the Friends to confirm that they don't want the donation bin, but they were hoping that it would be used, that the Boy Scouts would use it to collect the scrap metal, but we didn't, yeah, so they just,
No.
yeah, so. All right.
Yeah, do they want to vote again to
No.
have more?
Oh, what?
No, I think, I mean, they, I mean, they were okay, the Friends don't want it anymore, so I think we're okay with this.
So we'll leave it up to Erin to.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to get it into the dumpster and whatnot, and get some measurements. Okay.
So I had all the sandbags removed. There were sandbags that are around. I had that taken care of.
Thank you.
I'm looking into scheduling some professional carpet cleaning for the children and the teen services. Maintenance has tried it. They do have one, but it's not taking out the stains. I know somebody who I've used before in the library, and they do a really good job. It does stay wet for a couple of days. It gets really deep cleaning. I'm not sure he'll get everything, but I'm sure he can do. There's a lot of stains in the children's room. I wish there was a way to. It's too late now because it's a lot of coffee spills, and and in the teen room too. I don't know how well they enforce having lids on, but there's a lot of stains, and it's
Yeah,
really.
that's surprising with the
Children's
children's room, because that carpet is less than a year, since it's been
yeah.
installed.
It's got a lot of stains, heavy, big stains. So, I don't know,
Children's rooms tricky,
I-
they're like little
Yeah.
wrecking balls, so they got lids.
Yeah, at one point, the town purchased a commercial machine. I can't remember what it was called.
yeah, and they've used it a
And-
couple times, and it doesn't. It's
It
not
doesn't
really
work, or
taking out
they
the
just,
I mean, it works, it cleans the carpet, but it's not taking the stains out.
Do you have any feedback from the children's room managers as to maybe what's going on with that?
Yes, I've inspected it a couple times and spoken with them and looked at the stains, and they're pretty big.
Well, I mean, do they know what's happening? Or people coming in, like parents coming with their large coffees
Yeah,
kind of thing?
and
You
they
think that's
spill.
what it is? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, it speaks to cup holders. This is me thinking, okay, and where do I put my drink? Well, I don't see a place, I'll just put it on the floor,
but I would assume if this other thing didn't clean it, then
Yeah.
getting a professional cleaner, because my impression was it was like a professional cleaning. Do
I-
you remember the
I
name
think
of it?
it's-
It was like a
No.
certain name of it,
I don't remember.
not like a
I-
steam
I
cleaner.
remember our discussion, but I don't remember the name.
And I think that has to be, some level of expertise with the right chemicals to use and what the stains are, that I'm not sure they have those in it. And the ones that I've used at the library, that's very, very deep cleaning. And I was pretty happy with that. So I can get a quote, I guess, and then we'll see.
Yeah.
My thoughts were, if we closed for that, I think we're open a half a day before the Thanksgiving break. If I could schedule them to come in, that half day would have several days to dry, because you have to move a lot of things around too. So, but I think, the carpet's not that old, and the longer you leave stains, you'll never get them out, and they really don't look good at all. And it's a new carpet.
I mean, the carpet's, what, 5 years old now?
No, not the
That's not-
children's, not the children's.
That's not new carpet, you remember? That was the issue, is they reused the old tiles, right?
No, they,
No.
I'm pretty sure that was our big issue, is they ended up
It was.
not
You're right.
buying new carpet. They ended up reusing the tiles, and it,
no, they delivered the tiles. We thought that they delivered the wrong tiles, and then we're gonna be getting,
actually, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I would still
And the
just
teen
suggest that you
area
get a
too,
quote.
because they have sodas, I guess, and there's a lot of stains there too.
yeah. I mean, you're right, it's not the whole carpet, I guess, wasn't replaced. It was just a portion of the carpet, but yeah.
Yeah, let us know what the quote comes back
I
in,
will,
and then
yeah.
we can assess from there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly reasonable to clean the carpets, a couple times a year,
A couple times a year. I did them at least 2 times, sometimes 3.
Yeah.
So,
especially the children's room.
so I had a question from Tracy Sharkey about, I think it was her, that you might have some input on. There used to be, or supposed to be, an accessibility pathway sign outside the library. Does anybody know anything about that?
I know
So
we
it
had
is now the
discussed,
back of the library, there's supposed to be a sign that points to.
I remember on Accessibility Advisory Commission, we had discussed that, but I think it was in the context of Christy Proctor being the liaison to the Library Building Committee as a sort of non-voting member. And yeah, that was supposed to be in what is the front, which used to be the main entrance. And so I guess,
I thought we had a sign in the front that basically directed people to the other side of the building,
no, but sensory as
like the
well.
common side,
No,
common side.
But also like in Braille, I mean, it's like a sensory friendly sign that was specifically meant to not just be signage for those who could see, but was also a sensory one. And so do you remember, well, you were on building committee, and so,
I thought we had a sign that accommodated that in the front.
Is it like a standalone sign that you can move and maybe got moved somewhere, or was it
I don't-
attached
I
to
don't
the
think so.
building?
I don't remember. if the
But
other
I haven't
ones
paid
are.
attention. So are you saying we should have one?
right.
Yes.
Because Tracy, as the building inspector, is also the town's ADA coordinator, and she's also the select board rep to Accessibility Advisory Commission. So this actually arose out of our last meeting as well.
So can I work with you on that?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah.
Okay, so I also want to get a quote for the plumber for the children's room. I'm actually called him, but he was actually in the Bahamas when he answered the phone. I said, sorry, I'll call you when you get back. So I'd like him to give a quote. They've apparently had issues with the plumbing for like well over a year. And so the washing machines don't work. And then if you turn one thing on, there's no pressure in the sinks. And so we really need to, have
That'd be
that
a good
fixed. I
quote to
don't know
get.
what it would be. I think maintenance had looked at it and there's not really anything, you need a plumber. So I'll be calling to get a quote for that. I won't move forward until I report what it is. And maybe it'll be something simple, don't know. So just to let you know, I'll be calling about that. The tree is just, so a patron came to me with concerns about a leaning tree out there in the front. I didn't check to see, I reported it to Pat, he's the tree warden, who was gonna take a look at it, so I'm not sure what happened with that. I have to follow up.
You're talking about the ones underneath the wires right along the road, or?
No, it's actually near where the book dumpster is that we were just talking about. It's to the left of that, and it's leaning a lot. I
Okay.
think he was afraid it was gonna fall over or something, so.
Okay.
If it's a tree I'm thinking of, it's a weed tree. It's like one of those things that grows like crazy.
Yep.
And it was cut because, it was trimmed because it was hanging over the garden area,
Oh,
but it
well,
wasn't
still
completely
is.
cut down. So hopefully the tree warden will just cut it down.
Yeah, yeah. So just some other things that because I'll lead into, so there was some light bulbs out in the older part of the library. The emergency defibrillators, they're scheduled to be rehung on the walls because they've been down on the floors for a very long time, so I put in a ticket for that. As well as I asked Children's Services, I said, you need to have some coloring pages here. They have the paper on the tables where they can just scribble, but so we got some clear acrylic coloring page holders so they came to mount those on the posts there, because kids have to have colors. So it just sort of leads into, they initiated a maintenance ticketing system through SharePoint, and it's really good. So so if you have anything, send them to me, and I'll
That's
put in a
awesome.
ticket. You can go in and see the ticket, the progress, and they've been very quick to follow up. So it's been great. Security system training. So Kim and I met with IT just for a little while to figure out what's going on with the security system and the door locking, and we need to look into it some more. It's not easy, and if we have an emergency, it's in my office, which could be locked, so we have to look at all that, and I'll come back to the board when I have more information, but it is a little bit concerning because it's in my office, and I couldn't figure out how to navigate it, and the IT, we took him a while too, so we have to figure out how to use that. I'm also reviewing some software programs for efficiencies, cost, value, and overlap. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's time to build the FY27 budget, and I want to make sure that I'm as efficient as possible with that. And with some feedback from staff, a couple of them already said, yes, we don't use that very much. And so we want to make sure there's no overlap there because they are expensive. One of the things that I asked about because they changed IT companies because they outsources, who has a technology map, and he didn't know what I was talking about. So a technology map is you should have a mapping system of all of your technology, most importantly your computers and your monitors, but also all your peripherals, like everything. I wasn't able to find one. I have a list of some computers, but not any information about when they were installed. So generally I'm saying we probably have about 150 pieces of technology. They're very expensive. So if you have your map, you have to rotate when you're going to replace them, and it's a lot of money. Generally, you put that in the capital account. So I haven't seen any reference to it, and so it's a little bit concerning to me because I'm not sure if these were all new when you built the building. I can't find any information on that. If anybody has any, please let me know. So I just want to make sure that's in the queue somewhere. I mean, generally, capital accounts, you put money in, 5 years down the road, but it's going to be sooner than 5 years before our technology starts to need to be, rotated out. So I'm looking into that, and if anybody has any information on it, that would be, but I so far can't find any, so.
I mean, I can try to look as part of the building plan, like the line items that was purchased as part of that.
That would be helpful.
But,
Yeah.
I would also suggest just asking the staff, like in those
Yeah,
particular
I've
areas.
done that. I've asked CW Mars and,
Well, I mean, like the library staff, I assume they would
Yeah.
know if it's been purchased since the building reopened.
they didn't really know, and they didn't know where the purchases came from, like if it was part of the building purchases or if it was
Okay.
a separate thing. So, and I'll find out more about the capital budget
I
process
don't
here.
think that I don't think that was a big part of it, like just, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I mean, I don't know if you just
Yeah.
use the older ones, so we
I
don't really
think
know how old they are.
And they see
Oh,
probably
Prabhu.
has his hand raised,
Yeah.
so probably you can jump in.
Yeah, so quick question. When you say technology roadmap, I know that being on the building committee, and Doug, you might recall, we had a network diagram. That was all part of the building plan as to how the cables went and where did they go, what are the ports. We had all that one. The technology roadmap that you're referring sounds to be more of an inventory of all our assets, right? Laptops and whatnot, monitors and stuff. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you
more
have
of
to
a
know-
replacement schedule for the technology.
Right. You don't want to replace them all at once, but you have to have, a strategy
Okay.
for it because it's going to be expensive.
I think then that's someone was suggesting, I don't know who said that, probably Doug, getting an inventory of all the assets that we have right now,
Yeah.
and then dates of purchase and what's the versions and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That should be the easier one. Technology roadmap to me would be much more broader. And within that is one of the core infrastructure components, which is our network end of the day.
I'll
That's
report
all.
back and, yeah, I'm gonna actually have everybody in every department report out every single piece. And I know there's a laptop cart with like 15 laptops that I don't think have ever been used, and I think the software is probably outdated, I'm not sure. So
So-
we just wanna make sure we know what we
Yeah.
have, so we know coming
I'm
up.
pretty sure that, that Beth had a sheet, because, 2 library directors ago, she would come to the board every couple of years and have that on the capital thing, and since she was the director with the renovation project, I'm guessing that there's a file somewhere, it's just a matter of seeing if we can find
So
it.
normally, I think what happened there was she probably was working with CW Mars, because CW Mars will work with the libraries. But in 2017, they discontinued that part of the service so they gave me what they have, but it's
Yeah.
from 2017. So I don't know if anybody picked it up from there or not.
Do you have access to, like, the library network drive that potentially those files would have been on?
Yes, there's a lot of files in
Yeah,
there.
no, I've heard that. Okay.
Yes.
So the only recommendation that I could give you is, I think you're looking in the right places. So I know for a time they were trying to, and I've done, I do similar inventory projects for banks, right? We have to inventory all the it's a very large and expensive project to do. I think in the capacity that you're recommending, I think it's a great idea. But when it comes to our existing assets, CW Mars, right? I think they were trying to asset tag a lot of the laptops at least, so that they could loan them to patrons. I don't know if that was also done on the devices, that are in production throughout the library. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, so I do know that it's 75% confident with this, that new technology was purchased with the new library in 2021.
There definitely was.
Yeah, so it's,
Okay.
you are in the 5-year
Yeah,
in 2026,
right.
so then I would probably budget in 2027 if it is a true 5-year cycle for assets. Yeah. At least the computers. I don't know what the life cycle is for any other technology you have.
Are okay for longer. You might have to recalibrate them once in a while.
Yep.
That's not usually a big deal. But again, I have to, we have the scanners, printers, Biblioteca, we have the flap bin, that's a different contract. But
Yep.
so it does get really expensive.
Okay.
So anyway, just wanted to put on the radar.
The printers are a lease, so those, we don't own those.
The copiers, but
The
then there's
copiers.
printer, there's like, in the offices and so forth too. So.
You mean individual departments have individual printers? Why wouldn't they just use the copiers?
Well, there's only 2, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're printing out, Eileen's printing out financial document, you don't want them to go in with.
Yeah, that's true.
patron paperwork.
That would be one exception, but anyway, okay, yep.
So this, I had spoken with Doug, I have that information. So there was a deficit in the energy account that needs to be paid because it was from the previous year and those books are closed. So it was 1,300 something.
Yeah, that was cut off on.
That got cut off on your
Yeah.
report.
So I guess I think just verbal would be fine. I can get back to Mary Laurier and tell her it's okay, we can take it out of state aid, whatever.
Can you clarify what the number is?
Yes. 13. Oh, it's right
I might be able to find it, because I know you emailed it to me.
no, that's the table. Sorry. I'm sorry, it's 13 something. I can send it to you in an email. It's 1,000.
I'll find it, because I know you sent an email about it, because we should make a motion tonight. I have the number.
Oh, you do have the number.
I do, yeah.
Great.
So, can we do a motion now?
Yep.
Okay. I make a motion to pay the amount of $1,397.79 to pay that was the energy deficit, right? To pay the energy bill from state aid.
Second.
Any discussion?
So what would we expect the next month's bill and the next month's bill? Are we gonna continue to have to pay this out of state aid?
This is from last year?
This was just because it
Last year, because it
overlapped
was a
like the
deficit.
fiscal
Oh,
year,
got it.
and
By the time.
it was like an old
was
bill
no
that
money.
didn't get paid.
Thank you for clarifying.
No closed.
Great.
Any other discussion? Don't move into voting.
Why?
Chris, aye?
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye.
Rachel, I.
Roger, aye.
Doug, aye.
Right, passes.
Thank you. Just that I continue working on the state aid report, which is due next week. I touched base with Doug and Rachel today. You can take a quick look at it, and I brought the cover, which needs to be signed. So it's been challenging because state aid report is, it's not a cut and dried report, and there's a lot of places for in misinterpretation or interpretation, even from library to library. And when you have inconsistencies with people filling out the report, so there's been, they actually have to go through the back door and change some things that were submitted a year or two ago, which you can't change them, they're locked, but it impacts the calculations for this year. So I'm gonna get the town clerk's, photos of the library allocations and make sure those numbers are correct, so that we're looking at the right ones. Otherwise, this year's numbers will be wrong. We're gonna meet compliance, that's not an issue, but, I wanna make sure it's, all caught up to speed. It's not anybody's fault, it's not an easy report. And, when I did it for 9 years, so I knew exactly where I put the numbers, where I got them from. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 places where the numbers might go, so it's not that easy. And so, and there were some adjustments, but they weren't reported to MBLC, so I'm kind of cleaning all that up. So the report's almost finished, but I do need to get it in quickly, so.
Is there any, I mean, I know we mentioned this on email, but is there anything that the board can help with? I mean, it doesn't seem like we're even gonna be able to know if the numbers are right unless,
No, and, it's one of the things that, I can sort of eyeball and say something doesn't look right because I've been doing them for so long. But even this library has different accounts, different ways to put things. There are things in your appropriations budget that we didn't have in ours. And so when you're looking at what's in a capital fund, what your revenues are, and if the previous 2 numbers weren't right, you get an audit check because I'm pulling up what I see for this year, but it's very different from the last year. So I have to explain that because you get an audit check, you can't go any further. So I don't really see that you could tell that by looking at the numbers. And as I said, I'm happy to give a, report about it after if you.
do we have, is it easy to access last year's and the year before that, like the last 2 years?
There's, only directors can get to it, so, yeah, I'm working on this year's. I think you have to go to a different page. I'm kind of trying not to too much because I'm getting my head into, like, there's too many numbers that are kind of all over the place. I'm kind of sticking to what I'm pulling up this year,
Yeah.
making sure I'm accurate with what I'm reporting. There's different grants and there's a lot of different places to put things too, so, anyway, I'm almost finished with it. Attended the Friends meeting, as Carrie already reported out. Policy meeting. Went to the budget kickoff meeting, other meetings. There's another town administrative meeting tomorrow. And I think that's it. Unless you have any questions.
Can you give us some guideline or some timelines for the FY '27 budget? It says you're working on it, like,
Well, I've got to get the state report done too.
Right, sure.
First. So
but when is it due to, like, the first draft due to the town administrator?
I don't know. I might find that out tomorrow.
Okay.
So there was a budget kickoff where they really identified mostly that they were going from zero balance budgeting to performance-based budgeting, which I am all a fan of. But we have to meet state guidelines, and then that's probably not enough, so we have to have, and I don't know what percentage they're looking, like some towns will say you can only increase by 2.5%. I don't know any of that yet. I do know that from looking and pulling numbers here, if the numbers and the accounts are aligned differently, it will be much easier to do the finance report because I can align it a little bit more closely. There are things that they're in one account, but anyway, so I'm going to be looking at all that. I don't really have the timeline. I'm guessing it's probably within a month or 2. I'm not sure.
And if I could interject that the reason why we're in this conference room is that Finance Committee's meeting as we speak, and the town administrator and assistant town administrator are in attendance at that meeting, and I would gather that they're probably talking about budget matters and timeline, so, you know, it'll probably come out soon enough as to the time frame for these preliminary expectations.
And it's a good time. These numbers are all fresh in my mind. And so, like, there's a lot of accounts, there's accounts that are not there at all, where I have to pull numbers to fill in the state finance report. So I'm trying to find where they are, and you can't always tell. It's just a line item. You can't really tell. So I can build it in a way that will make it easier
That's great.
to fill this out for whoever's here next year.
So in the past, the trustees have supported the director at building these, or working with these reports, so I would suggest that we get at least one or two of us to work with Jean on the budget. I mean, it's gonna change when we hire a permanent director, but if there's anything that needs to get done before the permanent director starts, I think it'd be good for the trustees to be involved, and I can start out doing it
Yeah.
unless someone
I'd
else
be
has.
happy to help too, like if.
So I think at this point, I'm taking the guidance from the town. So I'm not sure where all of this lies. I guess as I get a little more into the process, I'll know
Well,
where the
I,
input is.
fundamentally, we want to support the library and the library's growth regardless of what the town says. At least to
Oh.
go to the town with that. Obviously, the town's gonna push back. They gotta balance the budget as a whole. But we wanna think about what, we wanna do from the library perspective first, and then figure out, obviously, we wanna not compromise, but we wanna work with the town as well. But it seems like as a first draft, we wanna make sure that we're getting what we want.
Yeah,
initially.
and to dovetail off of what Doug just mentioned, he's absolutely right. So in the past, we haven't had enough staff at the library. And, with a bigger library, it requires
Custodian.
more staff too.
Oh,
Sorry.
you're saying staff, sorry, never mind.
Staff,
Didn't mean to interrupt.
right? So one of the initiatives that we would put into the budget was, additional needs for staffing, and we would always support the director on that initiative and come to the finance committee meetings, and so those are the kind of things I want you to think about for growth. Exactly what Doug is saying. What are our needs, right? And is the current budget meeting our needs? And then if there's some wants, sure, we can consider those
Right.
too. But yeah,
Custodian's always been a challenge, getting,
Yep.
Getting enough custodial support, so, if it's appropriate to ask for, a full-time custodian, or additional staff, as Aaron mentioned. And obviously, the town's gonna come back and, we might have to cut that staff if the budget doesn't warrant it, but
And Rachel, if I remember from the exit interview with Tom, he had some recommendations around hours potentially that he thought that he didn't get this year, but that he thought might fill it out.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
ran
remember
some,
what the numbers are.
it was a couple more part-time staff just to help fill in some of the staffing challenges. I have those numbers back in my notes too, so we can share those with you.
And I thought it was in the context of comments about our maybe overuse of temps, and that those numbers were, I guess, so prevalent that that recommendation was made to have some more permanent part-time folks.
yeah,
So-
especially when we had to close rooms down because we didn't have enough staff, people go on vacation, not even sick, but go on vacation, we didn't have enough staff to have rooms open. So, I mean, you probably have a good pulse of it,
Yeah.
now, so.
I'm not sure that it looks the way you think it looks, but
It might be better this year, right? We're not
think
saying that it's not, but
there's
it,
some streamlining that could take place and some reorganization if everybody's there at the same time because they don't want to work another shift. It's kind of too quick to fill it sometimes.
Yep.
So, yeah.
okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
looking at that. Obviously, we want to be staffed well enough,
Yeah.
but this is already a very big staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And it-
just taking a look at the time, Carrie, and then I'll let you
Oh,
finish
sure,
your thought, is it's 9 o'clock. I know you have a couple other bullets. It sounds like
Mhm.
from a finance budget standpoint, you'll figure out a board person to work with,
Right.
and we'll learn more as the finance committee moves on. But Carrie, what were you adding in?
So I just want to mention, I know that right before Tom left, we had finally got to staffing of all open positions. So I think right now we're probably in a good position staffing wise, we don't have any open positions, and that
Right.
definitely wasn't the case for a good part of last year
Mhm.
too. So I think that might contribute to the temps.
And if I could just make a quick comment about, I think certainly this time of year and what's facing us as a board, especially with the director search, has added a whole new level of meetings, the search committee. I'll simply add that I think we find ourselves on a board that sometimes could use an extra meeting in a month, and I do appreciate everyone's time, but I would say that I think we sometimes find ourselves thinking that we are at a 2-hour stop dead time and then find ourselves rushing through certain items. I know we can rein ourselves in, but I just want to mention that moving forward, that I think we find ourselves rushing sometimes just because we're used to, 2 hours, but some agendas are going to be more packed than others, and I think may warrant more than 2 hours. That's
I'm
all.
giggling around that because I've never been to a 2-hour meeting yet
Yeah.
since I've been on this board. So
Yeah.
I was just doing a healthy time check
Yeah,
so we
I
can
know.
all,
No, I know.
all gauge
I
ourselves, and we will
appreciate
take
that.
the time we need as we go
I know,
through it.
I
So, but I'm sorry, Gina, if you want to continue on your report.
I was finished, but I just wanted to add, so this is the invoice for the table. Carrie, I think this was something you were involved in,
Right, so that would be for the capital campaign, yeah,
the library capital campaign?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, just so as an update, sort of, there's about $3,000 in there.
Mhm.
Okay, just letting you know, because they did an audit and sent me the number today.
In where? I'm sorry.
In the library capital budget.
Oh, no.
That's
n-
different.
Yeah, no, so this is, so prior to you, you coming on board, the capital campaign agreed to pay for that table. So there'll be like a reimbursement, for that payment, I guess, or if
That's
it's
a
been paid,
separate
right?
501c3.
Oh,
Yeah.
You can give me the invoice. Because I'm the treasurer of
Oh,
the
okay.
capital
I
campaign.
emailed it to you, Deb, also.
that's all.
Thank you, Jean,
Yeah,
and
thank you,
thank
Jean.
you for a busy first month. It sounds.
Yeah,
Your report was very informative.
absolutely.
Very well done. Thank you.
A lot of great action, yeah.
All right, and with that, Chris, the walkabout.
Yeah, so there's a handful of pictures, really just noted 5 items. The kind of, and I'm colorblind here, but the purple or dark blue wall, kind of as you enter from the new building into the old historic building, has some chipping on the paint there, that you should see there. This is the first time in a year and a half or so that I've been on the board that I walked through and all of the thermostats on the second floor read 72 at the same time. So that was pretty exciting. I don't know, I mean, it was a mild day, but that was a positive finding. I don't know if you read my notes before the meeting, Gene, but I had noted that there were carpet stains kind of throughout, and had a couple pictures of at least a couple of them. So I think that that recommendation to get a carpet cleaning is a good one. There are some by the study rooms on the above the new entrance. There's a couple wall patches that have some paint that needs to go over it, but clearly there was a repair that was done there.
Those are, I think, where those mounts were for that, there's gonna be like these little things to schedule the rooms and they
Yeah.
didn't work, right? Like,
Okay, it looked kind of like that. I was wondering if there
Yeah.
used to be thermostats or something. It looked like
yeah,
that.
no.
And then there are some stones on the front stairways, or the front stair to the old historic building on the north side facing the inn. They've been kind of, I think John and I noted them last fall. They were starting to push out. They've gotten a little bit worse in the interim. I think the final page there, and it's kind of granite block. There's some kind of larger gaps. So that looked like that. It's getting to the point where something should be looked at.
And was that the 9/17? It said 0.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the date that the walkabout was done?
Yeah,
Yes, 9/17.
okay.
I think it was incorrect. I had a typo on the actual PDF.
And Madam Chair, if you would allow me the liberty of, I'll try to keep this under 1 minute, high level, to Chris's walkabout. I was looking at the select board meeting of last night, and from the 29-minute point to the 36-minute point of that meeting, Ray Mead, who's the Facilities Assessment Committee Chair, discussed library issues when they did their walkthrough. And the 4 high-level things were the library roof issues, lead flashing should be underneath slate shingles, that it was improper installation. He discussed the library rainwater runoff problem on the backside of the building. Final recommendations will be to build a trench system to the drains and installation of a catch basin on South Street, notwithstanding that there was a berm put in to divert the water. You know, I'll say money doesn't grow on trees, but there's still going to be the recommendation that a catch basin be put on South Street. There was a comment about the parking lot catch basin being overgrown with weeds, and maybe that's a ticket item for, you know, DPW. And then noting door gaps and sandbags at almost every door need to be addressed. We already talked about that tonight regarding the sandbags, but the door gap issue. So the final recommendations of that committee will be coming out soon and will detail all these issues. And so if you want to see it, go on the town website or the GCTV, the town YouTube station for government. And it's last night's meeting, 9:23:25, and it's the 29-minute point to the 36-minute point of that meeting.
So Roger, do you know if they're gonna be like issuing a formal report to us or just to the town
I think
itself?
it's to the town because it's a select board appointed committee,
Okay.
an ad hoc committee. So, so we'll find out when that comes out, and then whoever gets to it first can share with the rest of the trustees.
Yeah, thank you, Roger.
Yep.
And thank you for the walkabout, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Can I make one ask a question, I guess? So I also noted those chips in the
Yeah.
dark blue paint. So I'm assuming I should do something to take care of that. Do we want to stay with the dark blue? Makes it look kind of really dark down there. Are we just gonna paint over and fix it with the same blue?
I was gonna suggest that you have the custodian patch the blue and the wall patches as a quick fix.
Yeah,
And then if you,
hopefully they still have the paint.
I don't really remember why that wall was painted blue between the old and the new.
I mean,
feel like there
think
was
the
a reason.
architect, right? Yeah.
I feel like there's a reason, but yeah, I think we should patch it first because that should be a quick fix. And then if we want to consider something different, we can consider that. Is that what you're thinking, is to change the color? To make it a little more
I
welcoming?
didn't know if they still have the same blue, how big it
That's a good
starts
question.
scraping and things more, like, is
Yeah,
it
I mean,
worthwhile
you
to
almost-
change something, or,
If you patch it, you're drawing more attention to it,
yeah.
I think, because a patch is just gonna be a white.
No, I'm thinking if you find the right blue.
Well, I don't know, that's gonna be very difficult, because that's what Jane is saying.
Yeah,
Jane
But
is
it
saying.
wasn't, I mean, it would have been 5 years ago that it was painted. It wasn't, was a part of the renovation expansion that got painted.
I'm sure we can get the color code for it.
mhm.
I mean, I think I can get the color code for that. But you're right, if we can't find the color, then it's gonna make it look worse.
Yeah.
Try to patch it.
So I guess, Jean, if you can't get the same color, then maybe we can talk about the next board meeting, or you can send an email to Doug, probably is the best way.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of contained around the doorway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't, like, the wall's fine.
Yeah,
So
it's
if we had to
within a
change- it
foot
wouldn't
of the
be
door.
terrible if you changed that part into lighter color or something, but I'll look up first and stuff.
Thank you. All right, so then if there's nothing else about the walkabout, we'll move over to new business, and the library director search. So Doug, if you want to give an update, and then I sent out the second round of questions that we can talk through quickly too.
Yeah, so we're, got a little bit delayed in the interview process, primarily because of the open meeting law thing that we always have to work around and making sure we try to post in 48 hours in advance. And then this was just a busy week, especially for me. So I think our interviews early next week. I do think we, as a committee, we're gonna need to have a ad hoc meeting here before our next meeting. Because I think if we're at a point where we wanna push together a couple final candidates, then this board needs to interview those candidates. So maybe I'll just send an email out to this group or asking you guys for the schedule for, maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now.
So would these candidates be expected to come in person, or would it be a Zoom?
We were thinking in person.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with that. I think we've fallen on Zoom too much, but I'll have to admit that there was something beneficial, I think, of having someone here in person.
And just as a reminder, these being the final, like, interviews up until this point are in executive session, because some of these candidates are, it's confidential and stuff. But the final round with this board will be an open meeting.
And so in preparation for that meeting, I sent out a quick overview of potential questions. And so what I did is kind of divided it up.
Yeah.
I just kind of like assigned people, so if someone does not want theirs, we can trade. And then gave some example questions too. And then as people are finalizing what their questions are, I'm happy to be a sounding board because what I tried to do is we have some basic questions we've been asking through first round. And so trying to give you guys some examples of stuff that maybe goes a little deeper. I will say we're not asking anything about strategic planning, policy, library friends, and community engagement. So Prabhu, Aaron, and Carrie, I gave those to you just based on, I think, what your normal
Yeah, no,
topics are.
Yeah, I
So
thought you did a nice job divvying up the questions, and I was happy with the questions that you assigned, but if you want us to come up with additional questions, we can too.
everyone will probably have a chance to ask one, maybe two questions, just depending on what the time comes. So feel free to edit them and make them like your own voice. We talked about we'll distribute them in advance to to second round candidates because it's all public information anyway. So it feels a little more welcoming.
Are
if
you,
we'll
are you
send them.
talking about questions that your email you sent to the whole board?
The interview questions?
Yeah. So in what manner would we finalize those questions?
So everyone, right, I think everyone has a good understanding of the area they are, so everyone can kind of finalize them, and then I can recollect them for our final meeting. And if anyone wants to discuss them, I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation to talk through it.
Okay.
So just let me know. I know along with Chris and Doug, we ask, like the interview process, we have a lot of questions. We found maybe we get through 9 to 10 in totality. So we want to make sure there's time for this group to hear the questions answered, but
Just remember, we can't have conversations in email, so just give your opinions to Rachel.
And
then-
here's where we're not out of the woods, all right, is that the more recent revisions of the Mass Open Meeting Law cover what's called polling, okay? So I would invite you to, and all of us, to look at the polling section of the Mass Open Meeting Law to make sure we're not running afoul of like you being a conduit. Even if we're coming up with a question, we're still kind of in a way offering an opinion that this piece of information is important to part of the process, even if we're going to eventually discuss it in open meeting. So I just want to make sure we are careful of how we filter out information behind the scenes outside of a posted meeting, that's all.
yep. And I think we don't have to have discussion on them, right? It's more if you have any questions or you want someone just as you're thinking through it.
Sure.
Everyone can bring their own questions. We don't have to pull the whole list back
Right.
together until the moment it's sent out. So everyone can kind of do their own in piece, and then
Right.
it can funnel through.
Okay.
So yeah, so try to do that to expedite the process. Doug will kind of kick us off, and then at the end, and explain the process, and at the end, just confirm if they have any questions for us.
And I'll just put a kudos out to the screening committee because knowing how many times you've met and how many meetings are up and coming has been a pretty significant commitment. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
We appreciate your flexibility with your upcoming schedule, so keep that in mind. Oh. So I think with that, if there's no other questions, I know we had strategic plan on it, but I believe, Doug, we said we're gonna defer that, and likewise, the library parking lot with
Yeah,
Roger, we're
and-
deferring.
Yeah, and I guess I had a question is, since we had resurrected the library parking policy, was that something that needed to be put under review status? Because there's some questions as to the validity of the preamble statement of how we got so strict on that policy. Or do we want to just leave it as is? Because right now, what happened is it was deactivated by the prior director, and then we discussed that we reactivated it. But I think there's still the question of the very basis for how we got so strict on that sort of 24/7 policy.
Yeah.
So do we place it back into review status?
My recommendation is we let the policy committee review
Okay.
it and decide what they want.
Okay.
So, Aaron, let us know what you think is best.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I'll hear any inputs as to which direction we should go, but at least at the very least, you know, we need to discuss it with the town.
Right.
And make sure that we're all in agreement on the library parking lot.
And we're at a time of year where this issue, I mean, except for the farmer's market, which is sort of on a tail end of the season,
Yep.
is really not an issue this time of year.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Let us know how you want to handle it, Aaron.
Yeah.
Okay, then for other business,
Sorry, just on a somewhat related, when we were discussing the parking lot last meeting, we talked about having a couple trustees meet with the town administrator to talk about a number of issues.
Yep.
Right? Did anyone volunteer to be on that group?
I think I did an Aaron.
I don't think I did.
No, maybe it was
No
Chris
way.
then.
I-
It was Deb.
Remember you?
I think it was you, Chris.
Yeah, and I think that we said I wasn't needed,
Okay.
but.
Yeah, I mean, I think two people is enough, but
Yeah.
I just want to open it up to the board. Because we want to, I want to schedule that meeting with Evan and William and just at least start the conversation with them.
yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I guess it'll just be Rachel and I. Thank you.
And then Carrie Capital Campaign.
So, other than the reimbursement for the table, there isn't really anything, so that's
All right.
nice, good.
Perfect. Kim, is there anyone from the public on the Zoom meeting and like the hidden little tabs? Are we good? No. 'Cause there's no one in the room, so I think we'd be good on public input otherwise.
Yeah, wouldn't it show up down here? Right, there's just two people there?
Yeah.
Or is there,
Kim had to let people in though, so I
Oh,
just wanted
okay.
to double check no one
Okay,
else was
thank
like
you.
hiding in the wing. Okay. Excellent.
May I make a recommendation for, I guess, maybe our next meeting, since we are already at 9:20, is we need to make a determination on who's signing the bills. And we probably should have discussed that when we were approving bills. Doug and I have been having a difficult time finding other trustees to sign the bills, and I think we didn't formally declare that the interim director would sign them. Although it has been the director's responsibility to, or within their purview to sign them in the past.
I'll say that I have been, when, I don't often check my emails as I do my text. Like, if that had come across my text, I'm like super flexible, and I work from home, and I'm like literally 1 minute away.
Right, I mean, I've had to leave work a couple of
Right.
times to go to the library and sign bills and then drive back to work.
Right.
And I know there's probably others who may, and not,
Right, and so I end up,
people aren't busy.
I
with
don't, I don't check my emails as much as I do my texts. If that had come to me, like, say, by text,
that. Yeah,
I would have been there like, oh, okay, I'll go my lunch today.
I had to call Doug, he was in
I
Arizona
know.
or something, and we're trying to figure out who can sign bills like at 3 o'clock on a Thursday, and it was not good. So,
Okay. We can get
anyways.
work and next agenda.
so for now, trustees have to continue to sign the bills until we decide otherwise at the next meeting.
So it's not possible for us, because I guess, like, at the last, I guess, when Jean first started, remember, I said, I went in to sign the bills, and then, and I was told, oh, you don't need to sign them anymore. So I thought that we were all set with that, but is it
I don't
not
think-
possible for us to give to decide today?
We would have to have it on the agenda as a topic, and it wasn't on the topic
Okay.
for today, so I think
Yep.
we can just send out a schedule if people want to preemptively sign up, right? I think they're ready as of like 3 o'clock on Wednesdays, and they need to be signed by 3 o'clock on Thursday. So we can just maybe do a little
I
sign
mean,
up
I
schedule. for
personally
those.
like the idea of us being involved. I mean, because we have an interim director, not a permanent director, I feel like the trustees should be aware of those bills.
Right.
But recognize that it's a challenge when we
So-
can't get
And,
somebody in to
and
sign them.
not to add work to anyone, but if there's a certain time frame, I like I'll always see my texts. I sometimes will go a day and a half
Yeah.
without reading my emails. And so if last minute, someone wants to text me, I was looking back in hindsight and realizing that during those times you were scrambling, I was completely available, and I saw the email like a day after the
Yeah.
fact.
I
and
can,
was like, oh.
I'd be glad to text.
Yeah, could you?
And I think
That'd
at the
be
very
great.
least, we can just come up with a schedule. It's kind
Yeah,
of like a
that-
known thing,
We
and so I think
we
we
have
can all
to know
just
that
sign up.
Wednesday they have, everybody,
All right.
we need,
Yeah,
I
that's
want
a
to
known
see
thing.
7 signatures on that. Everybody, I mean it.
We're
because-
gonna give Aaron next week
because-
off,
because
so
if we can
let's.
have, if we have 4, that's fantastic. We've had 1.
Yeah.
We had one, and that's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on behalf of
Unacceptable.
Eileen,
Yes.
she's very stressed about.
I know, and
Yeah,
I've
so
had
we'll-
So
trouble.
we'll
what
work
time
on
is
that.
that,
Just been
Wednesday,
out.
what time?
So it's ready Wednesday at 3, and then it has to be
Okay.
signed by Thursday at 3, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
keep in mind, she was just out for a whole week.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sickness going on
Oh.
too, so.
Oh, okay,
and,
so is that,
you know,
because I didn't see one today, right?
There, we just need one more signature. I put one signature on, so
Yeah.
pass it around. Okay.
Yes, please pass them around. Yes.
So with that, our next meetings are listed there. There's
You can sign
nothing
it.
else.
I don't have a pen.
Me either.
Do we have a motion to end?
What about did we go over everything, Friends Subcommittee and then trustees? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright,
we're
yeah.
good. We're ready for adjournment.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
There's a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right. Any discussion? All right, Prabhu?
Prabhu, aye.
Chris, aye?
Aaron, I.
Carrie, aye.
Rachel, I.
Roger, I.
Doug, aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you.
All right.
Adjourned at 9:23.
Oh, thank you, 9:23.
Thank you.